and welcome to the Red Brick House. Today I am going to be doing a bit of a continuation from last week. Last week we drafted a pattern. I showed you how I go through that process, and today we're going to be testing that pattern and making some shorts for my daughter. And so I have some fabrics here that I wanted to show you. If you've been around, you know that we have cats here. We have 3 cats, and her cat is the black cat. His name is Shadow, and she is just cat crazy. She loves all things cats. And so I found these fabrics. I believe they're a quilting cotton, and I found them at Joann's probably at the beginning of this year, which is 2025, in case you're watching in the future. And I think she'll just love these. And so we're just going to make some simple elastic shorts. And so come along with me on this journey. We'll see how these shorts turn out. I'm going to make one pair, and then we're going to see how they fit her, and then we can adjust the pattern that we made to be more comfortable if needed. So let's get started. Okay, so here you can see my layout. I have both my pants pieces. My fabric is folded. My waistband is up there on the fold on that side. And then I have this pocket here, and then I'm going to flip it over after I cut this one out, mirror image it, and cut out another 2 pockets. And so I think this fabric is just big enough. I really try not to overbuy fabric. This is only a yard, and I just kind of guesstimated. I don't like to have a lot of leftover fabric because then I have to find something to do with it, and typically it's not large enough. If I had bought 2 yards, I mean, maybe I could have made 2 pairs of shorts, or a top to go with it or something, but I had planned this fabric for shorts, and I'm so happy. I was a little bit worried that it wouldn't be enough fabric, but it turned out great. And so now all I need to do is to cut these pieces out, and we can start sewing it up. I think these are going to be pretty simple because, my daughter didn't really specify for any, except for the little tie. She has not really, specified for any, zhuzhing up of these shorts. So that's it. Let's get started cutting it out. Okay, all my pieces are cut out, and this is the only fabric that I have left. And I'm going to kind of show you like what I do with my scraps. So stuff like this is what I will put away for like cutting up to make like stuffing or something. So all these tiny strips that I really can't do a whole lot with, they go into one pile. So I'm going to sort all those out, and I do this right away. That way I can just get it out of my way. Now I have this right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this off. That goes over there, and I'll keep this piece because that piece I can do some crazy quilting with or something. So that will go in a separate pile. This is a pretty good piece of fabric, so I'm just going to fold it up and put it over here with this one. And that's all I do. I just kind of trim up some of these pieces to where they're a more manageable way of storing them. This part, it has a selvage on it. I'm not going to keep that selvage. I am going to just trim roughly up beside it, and it will go over there. And then this little piece, I'm going to kind of cut the little ends off. And then I have another little piece of scrap fabric. And then this one is pretty good. I'm just going to fold that in, fold that in, fold this end, and then I'm going to put, because this fabric's not really big enough. I mean, I could make maybe, I don't know, a tiny bag or something like that. And oh, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll make her a little like purse with this fabric. But anyway, I'm going to tuck my little scraps into there, fold that like that, and now we have a nice little bundle of scrap fabric that I can use. And then this little kind of shreds here, these will go, like I said, in my another, you know, organization place or whatever. I don't know how to say it. A bag to cut up for stuffing. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with my pockets. I'm gonna go ahead and prepare my pockets. I don't have a serger, so I'm going to zigzag around the edges. I do all my edges, and you can see here I have them pinned together. Let's take them apart. Okay, so there's 2 pockets, and there's the other set. So you can see how they're mirrored each other. They look like lungs or something. I don't know. Pockets are so funny looking. There we go. Three more to go. With right sides together, let's sew the front to the back at the inner leg seam. Now I'm going to fell my seams. I'm going to fell all of them. I really like that process. So to do that, I'm just going to fold this down in the back, and I'm going to trim off this excess. A lot of times people say trim it about halfway down. I trim mine more than that because I find it's easier, and I have a better chance at getting everything tucked under. So that's what I'm going to do. So now I'm going to take it to the iron, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this part down. I usually iron mine all in one go, but you could fold this down, you know, 1/8 of an inch. Fold it down like that, and then you're going to fold it over again like that, and then we'll stitch it down. But first the iron works wonders. First I'm going to use the iron on that. Okay, I've got it all ironed down. You can see right there. So now I'm going to stitch on the edge as close to this edge as I can, but you want to make sure you get all that fabric tacked down, because if not, you will regret it later. Trust me. Ask me how I know. Okay, and this is how it should look. I go slow so I can try to keep my stitch lines as straight and neat as possible. And on the other side, it looks like that. Okay, with right sides together, I'm going to pin my pockets onto my fabric, and I measured 2 inches down from the top. There will also be a waistband, so honestly it's kind of a guesstimation, but that's where I put them. And we're going to sew down right here to attach the pocket to the pants. And we're going to do the same thing over here on the back side as well. So before I do the side seams and sew up my pockets, I'm going to sew all around here, and I'm going to finish off that seam with a felled edge, or a felled seam. Okay, now with right sides together here, I'm going to sew the side seam. So I'm going to sew down, pivot, and I'm going to go around the pocket, back up to here, and then pivot and come down to the end of the leg. And my side seams will be done. Okay, I did finish off this seam with a zigzag because of the nature of the pocket. It's a little bit hard to fill that down. Now for the waistband. I sew the band together, and the next step is to hem one edge of the band. If you are sewing with a directional fabric, you want to hem the top of the waistband when the print is right side up, not the bottom like I'm showing here. Then we are going to place the shorts inside the waistband and pin them together. Again, if using directional fabric, the print will be inside out and upside down on the waistband. That way, when you fold it over, the print will be the right side up. I'm also pinning that seam in the waistband to the back seam. But in the next two pair that I will make, I positioned that seam where I sewed the waistband together on the side of the pants, and I liked how that looked better. Also, my waistband was a smidge bigger than my shorts, so I just pleated that tiny little area down because the elastic will bunch up this area and it won't be noticeable in the end. Now, with the shorts inside out, we will fold over the band to make the elastic casing. It will also encase the raw edges around the top of the shorts. Do you see the adorable kitty dozing at the top right corner of the screen? Oh, so cute. Now we will stitch that down to the shorts. I'm just getting an idea of where to sew my lines for the elastic because I want to put in 2 strips of elastic and a little ruffle on top. For the elastic, I start with the elastic on top. I feed that through and then close it up, and then I work on the bottom elastic strip. Then I just tack down the elastic in the front, back, and sides just to prevent it from twisting. Now, we just have to hem up the legs of the shorts. I'm doing a deep hem of 3/4 of an inch. For the tie, I am using a bias tape. I just cut the length that I want and fold the ends in and then sew it together. Then I tied it into a bow and I tacked it to the shorts by hand. I think they are so cute. They fit her just a little bit tight across the back and they are kind of baggy in the front. She is a little camera shy, so she didn't want me to film like how they looked on her. Okay, the first adjustment that I'm going to make, this is on the front piece of my pattern here. And like I said, this is just, it's too much fabric in here. So I'm going to take out probably about a 1/2 inch. I had the same problem when I made my linen pants and it really helped out. And so right here in the middle is where we have quite a bit of fabric. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a line across here. And then I'm going to measure up a 1/2 inch. So I'll just pull that over because I can measure with this. And then I can draw another line there. Okay. Now I'm going to fold it. You could score it if you wanted to. Or you could cut it. You could cut it here, move that down, and retape it. That's another thing that you could do. Okay, now I'm going to fold the other line this way. Let's see if I remember. I've only done this one other time. I'm going to fold it gently to see if I got it right. Yep, that looks good. Okay. So now, I should have done it the opposite way. Let's see. I can probably do it this way though. We'll see how it is. I'm not even going to cut anything, okay? So I'm just going to put a little piece of tape right here in the middle. We can always untape it if we need to. Then this line right here, I will kind of need to fix like that. So I'm going to clip it. I can always fold it back out if I want. But I'm going to fold that in and I'm going to fold that bit in like that. Now you can get a better idea of how it's going to look. It's not perfect, but it'll work. Okay, so there we go. That will be my front piece for now anyways. And now we're going to take a look at the back. What I wanted to do on the back is that, because that's really where it was like pretty tight on her, it was almost like the front was too baggy and the back was too tight. So I'm going to take more ease out of here. So I'm going to cut some more fabric out of here. I'm going to scoop it a little bit. I'm going to draw it on here. Try to bring it into into that. So it's kind of scary to cut into it, but it's necessary. So we're going to do it. We're going to be brave and we're going to do it. Okay, there. I think I like that better. Okay, so now I'm going to add, I took that out. Now I'm going to add about a 1/2 inch to the sides. So that will give her a lot more ease in the shorts. And if anything, I would rather them be too big than too small. I even thought about going a little bit bigger. I don't know. We'll see. When I get this pattern where I want it, watch, she won't be the same size again. When I go to use it again, she'll be a different size. A lot of this is just trial and error. And I don't want y'all to be discouraged. If you make something, you make your own pattern and it doesn't turn out the way you want, don't be discouraged, because that's kind of normal. I mean, you know, pattern makers, they make patterns and then they have people test them and then they have to tweak them and then they test them again. They might go through 4 or 5 testings before they get it where they like it, you know? So it's kind of normal, I think, to have to make adjustments. You have to make adjustments even in store-bought patterns, because those are just made as a guide for the average person, you know? So we're not all the same. Because I lengthened the pattern, I also added a 1/2 inch to the waistband and made the pockets a little bigger. Okay, so now I'm going to start cutting out and sewing. I think I'm going to do these kitties next. Oh, they're so cute. I love them. So anyway, I'm probably not going to show my whole process. I'm just going to sew them together since you've already watched me do it. I'm going to sew it together and then we'll talk about, you know, how they turned out. Hopefully they turn out perfect. That's our goal, that they fit her perfectly, and then I can just make the other pair off of this pattern. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. Okay, I'm in the process of putting these shorts together, and I realized that I made a mistake, and I completely forgot that when I took fabric out of the front, this is the front of the shorts, when I took that fabric out and I folded the pattern down, I totally forgot to add that length back to the bottom of the short, because it was in here that the fabric needed to come out, because that's where it was bulky. But I still needed the length, so I should have put this back down here on the bottom, and that's why my legs are totally uneven. So my mistake, but we're going to remedy it by, I'm going to trim off these shorts so that they match the front. And remember how I had a long hem? I had like a 1-inch hem on the other pair of shorts. So because I messed this up, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do like a 1/4 inch hem, or maybe even a 1/2 inch hem. And it should all work out okay. Also, up here at the top, because these are, you know, because I shortened this, it's a really big difference between the front and the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of trim that back a little bit, not a ton. It's still going to be longer than the front, but I think it's just a little bit too long now. So I'm going to make that adjustment and we'll see how they end up fitting. But they look a little short, at least in person they do. Especially when I trim this off, they're going to look kind of short. But it is going to have a waistband on top. So we'll keep that in mind. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that it'll turn out okay. We'll see. I will let you know. Ta-da! They're all done. I think they're super cute. They turned out much better than the first pair. I was a little worried that this was going to be too short, but it's not. It's actually perfect. So all I'm going to do is make some adjustments on my pattern that I made when making these and make the last pair. And now I have a pattern that I know fits her, and even if she gets a little bit bigger, all I have to do is just adjust the sides here and maybe the waistband a little bit. But I'm really happy with them. They're really cute. Okay, on to the next pair. This pair turned out just as adorable, and they fit great. This video shows how I worked through the process of tweaking my pattern to fit better. I'm not an expert, obviously. I am still learning as well, but you have to start somewhere, right? So let's learn together. I'm open to positive tips in the comments of how to make my sewing better. If you see something that I could do better or easier, just let me know. Thank you so much for supporting my channel, which allows me to pursue my creative endeavors. See you next week. Bye.